And that was the Animals out of 1964 with their number one international smash, The House of the Rising Sun. There was a fella sitting behind the band there tapping on the drums. His name was John Steele. And guess what? John is on the phone all the way from the UK. G'day, John.
Good day, Neil. Nice talking to you again.
It is nice. I worked it out. It was June last year we last chatted, and that was when you were coming to Geelong. Not coming to Geelong this time, but there's a few places nearby. Let's talk about the Animals. It's a band that was pretty big, wasn't it, back in the early to mid 1960s?
Oh yeah, we had some seriously good hits and a lot of touring, and there was a point where everybody seemed to reckon that the top of the list was the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Animals. It didn't last forever, but it was a nice while it lasted.
And I guess there was this thing that we often hear about called the British invasion, which relates to the US. You were part of that, and I guess It was the House of the Rising Sun that was the driving force to be part of that in the first place? Absolutely,
yeah. It was only our second single, and it took off just about all over the world, and number one in America. It opened the door for us, and it was quite an experience, because we were teenagers in the 50s. You know, Eric Burdon and me first formed our first band in 1956, and back in those days, America was like a different planet. You know, a world far away, which is something you saw in the movies, but not like nowadays where you just jet off for a holiday. So for us to be, you know, within a few months of leaving our hometown, to suddenly find ourselves heading towards New York to open our first show, it was really exciting.
And of course, you appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, which, you know, is no mean feat in itself. Had you sort of knew who Ed Sullivan Show was and how big it was before you headed for the States?
It didn't air in the UK, but everybody had heard of it, Ed Sullivan. Somehow it was one of those names you knew. I think we did that show 3 times, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, wow.
But very strange show it was. Very. I don't know. Did you ever see it?
A little bit before my time, if I can be so cheeky as to suggest that, but I've certainly seen clips of it along the way.
It was massive. It had one of the biggest audiences in the US, and it was basically just a variety show. You know, he would come on, fold his hands together and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Sinatra." And that would be it.
Yeah, you don't want to overwork it, do you? So there must have been, because again, my geography is not as good as yours of the UK, I suspect, but if I drew a line halfway up the UK, or particularly England, there's a few towns north of that line, like one called Newcastle upon Tyne, there's another one called Liverpool, another one called Manchester. Those cities seem to produce some extraordinary musical talents, particularly at that era. What was it about the water up in that part of the world?
I don't know. Kind of. We were all pretty much provincial, working class kids from industrial backgrounds. You know, it was all heavy. Newcastle was shipbuilding, coal mining. Manchester was cotton, and Liverpool was the shipping, and Sheffield was steel. So they were all kind of dark and dirty places in those days, but they somehow managed to produce some of the best music that have been made.
Yeah, and because, of course, you would expect that London would be the epicentre, but all those, and I guess that's where you had to go to get some exposure to more global audiences?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody gravitated to London as soon as the Beatles kicked the door down to the world, up to British music. Everybody just headed for London. That's where you had to be seen, to be in the action, to record, to get on television, and the rest of it. So, London suddenly became swinging London.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably asked you this last time, and my memory isn't what it used to be, but did you ever get to perform on the same card as the Beatles?
We performed a few times on the same TV shows. There was a great TV show called Ready, Steady, Go, which went out on every Friday night with the slogan, "The weekend starts here." And every band in the of our era, every band played that show, and we shared a dressing room with the Beatles one time, and another time with the Rolling Stones. We did an awards festival at Wembley with when we were along with the Beatles and the Stones again.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah,
arguably you would have been the three biggest acts in the UK at the time, would you?
We were at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great because everybody was, there was no competition in the sense that trying to outdo each other, because everybody was listening to what everybody else was doing and thinking, wow, that sounds good. Oh, listen, have you heard what the Beatles' latest single? The single is. When we first arrived in New York for our first time with House of the Rising Sun at number one, we got a telegram at our hotel, said, "Welcome to the USA. Well done, you guys. From the Beatles, a band."
Yeah, for the young folk listening at home, a telegram, that's a sort of the paper version of an SMS text these days, I suspect.
I suppose so, yeah.
And a little more difficult to deliver, I would have thought. And so you obviously had a string of hits through the mid-'60s is about when you were at your peak, 64, 5, 6?
Yeah. The original band broke up in 66, and then we had several reunions, one in 68, one in 75. The last one was a major tour of the world, basically, in 1983. 1983 was the last time we all played together.
And if you had have said to them, boys, that's it, and I'm still going to be hitting the drums in 2025, would you have laughed at me or thought, yeah, no, that's pretty good, on the money?
I can remember at the time when things first started happening for us, and we suddenly, became, on television and radio and everything like that. I distinctly thinking, wow, this will probably last about 2 years, and then I'll just get back to normal life.
Well, can we go back and revisit 1965? There's one of my favourite Animals songs I'd like to play now, if that's okay. And after we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. Folks, I am talking to the legend that is John Steele, drummer with the Animals. We'll be right back after this. That was the Animals with Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. I'm talking to John Steele, who is the drummer, has been the drummer for the Animals ever since 1964. John, you said the band, as we knew it, broke up in 1966 and a few reunion tours and that sort of stuff. What did you do in between? What sort of work did you do? Did you play the drums, or did you go and have what my mother would have referred to as a proper job?
Proper job. That's what my dad used to say. Before we left home, and I was playing drums in a nightclub, and my dad used to say, "It's all very well playing drums, but you really should get a proper job,
If only he knew. So what did young John Steele want to do when he was growing up? Did he only want to be a muso, or did he want to be something exciting like an accountant?
Well, I went to art school, but that was mainly just to avoid having to go to work.
To go to proper school.
Yeah, and that's where I met Eric. That was on our first day, our first induction in at Newcastle College of Art, and pretty much everybody had the same idea. It's going to be better than work.
And another key player in the game, to the extent that the band was originally called the Alan Price Combo, was Alan Price. How did he get involved?
Well, Alan, Eric and me formed a band called the Pagans. There was 4 of us, and we were playing in a little church hall in a rough area of Newcastle called Byker. And there was another band on, what the hell was it called? It doesn't really matter now, but the lead guy was, nowadays you would call him a Jerry Lee Lewis tribute,
Yep.
Frank Headley, that was his name.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, there was this kid. This kid was playing rhythm guitar with Frank Headley's band, and when we started to play, there was an upright piano on the stage in this little village hall, this kind of strange little venue, and he strolled over and said, "Can I sit in with you?" And we said, well, "Okay, go on." And he sat down and he hammered this piano almost to the destruction. That was 1959, and that boy was Alan Price, and he was a real two-handed boogie player, you know. So we immediately poached him into our band, and he left Frank Headley's band behind and became what eventually became the Animals. It was originally, as I said, the Pagans, and then we had I got a job in a drawing office in an aircraft company, and I only stayed there 4 months, and I came back to Newcastle because I got really bored. And by which time, the band had reformed again, and it was Alan who got the band together, so he called it the Alan Price Rhythm and Blues Combo.
No, fair enough.
That's the name we got. Hey?
That's fair enough, given he started it. So, how did the name The Animals come along?
Well, there we are. So here we are. We've got a band called the Alan Price Rhythm and Blues Combo, which it became a really hot band in Newcastle at the time, and we were playing at a club called the Club of Go-Go, which was a terrific music venue, and everybody played there, you know, just every name you can imagine. That's where we met John Lee Hooker, and we backed Sonny Boy Williamson and stuff like that. And one of the visitors was called Graham Bond. It was a Graham Bond organisation, this quartet. And Graham was a lovely fella. He played the Hammond organ and also tenor sax, alto sax, and he had he had Ginger Baker on drums, and the bass player with the cream. What is it?
Yes, yeah, we've all gone blank on it. We know who you mean, though. Yep.
Yeah, and so that was that kind of lineup. They were that good, and we were just playing the interval and closing the show, but he got up and sat in with us, Graham, and he had a word with the manager who's the boss of the club, who suddenly became our manager, the band manager, Mike Jeffries. He said, "Mike, you should get these guys down to London, and I can give you some names and introduce you to them." So Mike took the offer up. He went off to London, came back a few days later. Jack Bruce was the bass player.
I was just about to say, I just looked it up while you were talking. Jack Bruce, yes.
and anyway, Mike went to London, met up with these people. He came back a few days later, and he said, "Right, I've met a bloke called Giorgio Gomolski, and he manages the Yardbirds, a new band called the Yardbirds. I also met a guy called Ronan O'Reilly. He's got a club called the Scene Club just off Piccadilly Circus. He's got a great big music scene there. And Ronan became the first offshore pirate radio station a couple of years later. So there are really a couple of cool connections. So that's what he says. Oh, and by the way, he says, Graham came up with a great name for the band, but the Alan Price Rhythm and Blues Combo doesn't quite roll off the tongue. So he suggested the Animals.
Oh, fair
and
enough.
We said, what? The rest of us went, the Animals. And he said, yeah. And we said, okay, that was great. Except for Alan, who didn't like that at all.
No, funny that. And meanwhile, going back to Dad and saying, not only am I playing drums, I'm playing the drums for the Animals. That would have gone down well.
Yes.
So the reason we're chatting, John, is because you are returning to Australia for a tour that's called the Final Curtain Tour. Does that mean that this is it? You're not coming back?
That's what they keep telling me. I think they said that last year again.
I think that's right. I think that's what we had the same conversation 18 months ago.
Well, the same thing applies. It's what I feel like, Neil, personally, is I'm playing as well as I ever did, and that's it's as good as I've ever played. And the band is literally the best lineup I've worked with since the original Animals, and we get along together. We're having fun. I think I don't want to give this up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too, I'm unsurprised that you're playing better than ever. You've had a lot of practice over the years.
I should be a lot better.
You're talking to someone that should be a lot better than what I'm doing too, but that's okay. So we are. This is obviously pre-recorded. Otherwise, Rob would have been saying something. So we're playing this on the 25th of October. So today, folks, if you're looking at your calendar, it is the 25th of October, and you've already done three performances in New South Wales. But you were telling me that on the 26th, that is tomorrow morning, real time, you're heading off on a thing called Rock the Cruise. That sounds like a bit of fun.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect. I haven't actually got any information other than that's what we are. It's got on my schedule. It's got 26th to the 30th, Rock the Cruise, Sydney. And that's all I know.
Well, I think it involves a boat and I think it involves drums. That's as much as I've got for you, but let's run with that to start with. Then you come back and I think it's fair to say that, that age has been generous to you. So as I look at the next few weeks, I'm tired. So I can only imagine how you are. You are going to be going around through New South Wales for the next few days. Then you're heading to Woolloongabba, which is a suburb of Brisbane that you may know of as a cricket ground, the Gabba. That's in Woolloongabba, so you'll be able to go and have a look at that.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
yeah.
I haven't played there, but and so some of the towns and some of the places we've already played before, but there's certainly one or two there that I don't recognise.
Yep. Well, you're staying around in southeast Queensland from then, and then you're heading to Victoria, and you've got 4 performances in the beautiful state of Victoria where we are. One of those is on November the 11th, of course, Remembrance Day. That's at Ballarat at Her Majesty's Theatre. They haven't even updated the name of the theatre, but they're keeping it as a tribute to the Queen by the sound of it. Now, Ballarat's about an hour's drive from Geelong, so I'm going to try and get across to that show if I can. You are also at the Palms at Crown in Melbourne on the 12th. Then you're heading to Warragul, which is about an hour's drive out of Melbourne to the east on the 14th. And then not too far from there, Wonthaggi on the 15th before doing a few shows in Adelaide, Perth, and then heading home. So it's a big month.
After Adelaide, we head over to Perth.
Yeah, and
Perth.
And then Fremantle as well, which is a suburb of Perth.
And Fremantle. And then that's the end of the tour. And then on the 25th, I think, we're back in England.
Yeah, planning the next one, no doubt, the next final curtain tour.
Well, don't tell anybody, but it's already been whispered about.
Well, guess what? You'll be back on the show. You can bet your life, because we love having a chat to you.
Thank you, Neil. It's always great to talk to you.
Thanks, mate. Now, we are going to go out with one of your other great hits. We've got to get out of this place. But before we do get out of this place, we are able to bestow an extraordinary honour upon you. Once you've been on our show twice, you become an official friend of the Blokes. Now, you can have your Ed Sullivan.
Oh, no, lovely.
Yeah, Ed Sullivan who?
Yeah.
You are an official friend of the Two Blokes, so we are delighted to have you on our list of friends. And if I can get across there to Ballarat, I'll try and catch up with you then.
Well, that's a great honour, Neil. I'm really, really honoured to hear that, and that's very generous of you. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't be too taken by it, to be honest, but anyway,
Anyway, I hope to see you sometime down the road when we're over there.
Sounds like a plan. John Steele from The Animals, thank you so much for your time. Here they are, of course. We've got to get out of this place. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Neil.